not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the Libertarigressives. He's Liberty, aka Cory. I'm Progress, aka James. And together, we are the Libertarigressives. What's up, buddy? How we doing?
I'm good, man. You don't often get to do something for the first time. And this is not our first time doing this, but it's our first time doing this in terms of this pod. Particular, we've talked about it for a while. It's been a brainchild that we've had. So yeah, dude, and it feels good to be able to do creative things again, man, and get the juices flowing a little bit. So I'm good, dude. Had the day off work, 2 days in a row now for your boy. I was just talking to you about how whenever I get in the, it's funny because it's probably a larger conversation we could have about American programming. When I don't take days off, I'm good. I'm a good worker bee. I don't miss time. I'm all that shit. But the moment I take a day off, I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go back, man.
You're a good little capitalist slave until they give you a little bit of freedom, and then you turn into a fucking communist.
Yeah, dude, I realize how, I always am cognizant of how bullshit the Rockefeller theory is, but it's like the moment I have like time to step away and like tend to my house and tend to my life, I realize how necessary those things are and how hard it is when you give 11 hours or 12 hours a day of your life to a certain place.
Oh no, mental health matters.
Yeah. Who would have thought, right?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
We're just little worker bees that, float through life and do things for other people and make them money, and then we die.
That's it. And collect your peanuts and scrape by and shut the fuck up. Don't you dare complain, because what do you mean? We gave you a job.
We gave you stuff. We even bargained for this. All that unionizing happened in the early 1900s. We don't need a collective bargain anymore.
I know. What's funny is my job, as you know, does have a union, but it's such a play bullshit union. It's not like an actual grown-up adult union with teeth. Like the longshoremen have. We just have one where they want you to pay your dues so that they can go to the Vegas convention once a year and get pizza and blowjobs. And I'm going to stop there before I say too much and incriminate myself any further. But
how many pizzas and blowjobs have you gotten?
Hey, I've gotten none, and I'm so good with that. I even turned down the free merch. I don't even like, hey, we got like free beanies and free shirts and free lanyards. And I'm like, I'm good, man. I don't want any of that. Do you think I want to rep you fuckers?
No.
I'm good.
God, no. That's what the sports show is for.
Exactly.
I'll rep that shit. I'll rep my state mandated PSYOP merch for when something actually gets me excited and I can actually represent something and a bunch of dudes in tight pants who give zero fucks about me. But fuck you bastards at work. I'm not gonna fucking deal with you.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you guys have done nothing for me, so I'm just gonna sit here and wear dumb shit to work like Terrifier shirts. I could do that technically when I'm driving around. I can't do that, in the school system, but I can do that when it comes to just driving around taking people food, and I can dress however the fuck I want. Or you might get accused of being, Jeffrey Epstein's best friend and then deny it on national TV like Donald Trump did this morning. Yeah, wow, have I got a lot to say about that.
We're getting there.
Everybody does, because what a bill of goods we were sold. Jesus Christ.
Was it though? But we will get into that.
Yeah, we will.
First episode of the day. First episode of ever.
All time, lifetime, live cherry pop.
We're titling this one, Pull the Chicken Out of the Freezer. And the reason that we're doing that is because back when Cory and I were growing up, back in the millennial era, we used to have to do things around the house after school as our adults set us to do. And one of those things that we always inevitably would forget was to take the chicken out of the freezer for dinner that night. And we all, every millennial here, has the shared experience of their parents or their adults just berating the shit out of them for forgetting to be a little conscious and doing the one thing that we asked you to do. So,
yeah.
I mean, what's your favorite one, man? Because I know I got a couple in the bank.
So, I just remember the daily. It's like, that's what's funny, because you can sit here and say a lot of people go, like, we've come such a long way. And I guess there's little examples where you can say that, right? Like, white and black people drink out of the same water fountain now. That's certainly progress, right? That's good things. But then there's, I think, everybody's parenting style is different. You know, I'm a parent. And I'm not trying to turn this into parent pod, because that's not what this is, but I'm not kid glove parent. And I think there's a lot of that going on now. And our parents did not handle us with kid gloves. And I think we were the last generation whose parents didn't basically make their entire construct to model around, well, I wonder what my kids' feelings are going to be. And I do think you have to listen to your kids. I think you have to trust your kids in some way, shape, or form. But with that comes, you need to reciprocate with a little bit of work around the fucking house. I heard my mom say it all the time when I was growing up: ass, gas, or grass, nobody rides for free. I'm her kid, so some of those obviously didn't apply to me. This isn't West Virginia, but I think like, it's just different growing up now, man. And when we were growing up, our parents were hard on us. Most of us were. We were the last generation that had a lot of the shit that we did. There were a lot of daily things had to be done, man. You got to vacuum, you got to do the dishes, do the yard, mow it, edge it, feed the cats, do the litter box, all of that shit. And by the way, my room had to be clean. The house had to be clean. The room being clean was never a problem for me because I'm obsessive compulsive. But it's one of those where if you want to use the car on Friday night to go out with your girlfriend or to go out with your buddies, there's a list of shit that better be done. And these are things that aren't negotiable. And if you, out of, let's say there's 30 things here, if you do 29 and leave one of them behind, you're still not getting the fucking car. Those are just some of the things I had to do, man. And I remember, because I did this ambitious thing at one point where I was like, I'm going to go around to people's houses in the neighborhood and try to cut their grass for $10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I was that kid, dude. I was trying to get it $1 any way I could. I remember back when we had CD burners.
Yeah.
I would mix CDs for people for $5 and bring them to school the next day. I tried to do anything I could to get it $1, man, to hustle. And I was a better entrepreneur then than I am now, as I continue to be a slave to the Starfleet.
Well, I think, and that's part of growing up. That's part of not being naive as much of the world opening up to us and our eyes and our brains and understanding that we're fucked. We're cooked, as the kids say. But at the time, it didn't seem like that. We watched 3,000 people die on live television, and we're like, well, it can't get any worse than that, right?
Yeah, and then you find out,
why those 3,000 people died on live television.
Yeah, maybe they all died so that they could track everything that we did.
Hey now.
Maybe that's why they wanted to do that. Maybe that's why we had to sacrifice thousands of people and then blame it on a concept. Yeah, Patriot Act, when you can't ever entirely eradicate a concept, really. It's always going to be there. Yeah, dude, and I also think there's there's something to that, man. You're wide-eyed when you're a kid, you know, and I love the movie The Outsiders, you know.
Yeah.
And I tell him all the time, stay gold, pony boy. I mean, and one of my favorite quotes is from Moneyball. You know, we're all told at some point in life we can never play the children's game anymore. You know, we don't know if it's going to be 18, we don't know if it's going to be at 40, but we're all told. And I always kind of had this, like, and I'm not sitting here being like, hey, I'm a prophet here. Like, I'm not David Koresh, dude. You know that. But I remember early on being like, this school thing kind of seems like sham a little bit. You know, it just kind of felt like programming. And I remember when I talked to my mom about it, and she, like, flipped her shit, you know, and because it felt like you get up early, you're there most of your day. You have to give part of your day to it. At the end of the day, you get 30 minutes to eat. You have to be at a certain place by a certain time. You have to adhere to, you know, structure, which isn't a bad thing. Again, I'm obsessive compulsive. I believe in that. But it became obvious to me, it's like they're gearing us up more to be worker bees than to be actual independent thinkers. They don't want that. They don't want individualism. They don't want any of that. They say that they do, but they don't.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's kind of the thing is there's a balance. And everything that you described, there's a balance that must be struck of how do we parent our kids, but also allow for them to be human beings and be cognizant of their own needs that are inside them, just the same way as we grew up and we had our own needs that were inside us that may or may not have always been tended to. How do we strike the balance of being that worker bee, being that set up to be productive as a member, as a citizen of society, being a productive person within a community, but also being able to go off on left field if you want to, but also realizing that everybody can't go off on left field because, unfortunately, with, at the time, 6.5, 7 billion people on the planet, it just doesn't work. Life evolves into chaos, and there's too many people that are crazy and fucked up in the head for things to run correctly. So, you know, do we need, as human beings, do we need some sort of guiding force to guide us into being little worker bees, to being constrained a little bit by societal necessities? That's the balance that we have to play as human beings now in the year of our Lord 2025. And I know you're laughing hearing me saying that. Hello, resident atheist here. Fuck off religion. I'm the anti-religion guy, he's the conspiracy theory guy, so we get into a little bit of shit. But I want to take a little bit of a left turn here because we've got so much going on within the world here in just the beginning of July 2025, and something that is now going to affect you and is going to affect me and is going to affect the world at large within these great 50 United States. Last weekend, they passed the big bullshit bill, and I'm never going to call it what it is, just to kind of give a rundown for what it's done. It's cut significantly Medicare and Medicaid. It's given billionaires and the wealthy incredible tax cuts. It's caused the ICE budget to balloon to nearly $100 billion, billion with a B. There are supposedly no tax on tips, on overtime, and on Social Security because of this bill. However, there are certain provisions with that in reality don't make any sense. The only reason that got pushed is because conservatives at the very last minute were able to get things that they wanted, such as no tax on whalers for their harpoons, not even harpoons, harpoons. And they got signed Trump merch to get that thing back through the House. And then there were some last minute ads that affect you and me especially. The gambling tax got thrown in there at the last minute, and then Planned Parenthood got slashed altogether, and we'll see how that happens in court. You know, it's amazing to me that we have this process that we're supposed to elect duly elected officials to hold ourselves to a certain standard, and to make legislation that applies to the United States citizenry as a whole. And then you get this, the bribery at this point is so obvious.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and you know, it's like, why did the Alaskan senator at the last minute, at the death, when the Senate was going to vote for this bill, because she was the swaying vote. Had she said no, it would have crashed out and everything would have been a lot better. But at the last minute, somebody proposed to her that whalers in Alaska would get a tax exemption on their harpoons. And because of that one little concession right there, she said she voted yes. Even though when she was approached afterwards, and was like, and they were like, "What? Well, what the fuck? You said you were no because it was bad for the American people." And she said, "Well, my first responsibility is the people of Alaska, bitch."
Yeah, it's I don't. The corruption's been obvious for a while, right? To those of us that have been paying attention, to those of us that don't watch the network TV channels that just feed you propagandized bullshit. But I don't know at this point, and this applies to just about anything that we're going to discuss on this episode or going forward as a show. I don't know at this point how it can be denied. I don't understand it. I really don't. I mean, look, the no tax on overtime and the no tax on tips, that's great. That's awesome. But why? Nothing good can ever happen. Nothing good ever. There's nothing done anymore to benefit the American public, the people. We, the people. There's none of that shit. None of it's done purely to, hey, let's, not even a handout. Motherfuckers aren't asking for handouts. We're just asking for a hand up, man, really. And you can't even get that without there being some backdoor shit that's gonna fuck you. You know what I mean? I mean, I know, like, here in our house, we both work so much overtime, it's absurd. And you would like for the time that you spend past 40 hours to be purely compensated. That would be great. Our paychecks here would look entirely different.
Well,
way different.
That's the thing, though. Have you seen the provisions on the no tax on tips and no tax on overtime?
So I've seen some. Isn't there? It's supposed to expire in a couple of years.
So not only is that the case, and I had the language of the bill pulled up in a tab, and I've literally got 115 tabs open on my computer, so I don't remember which one it's in. But there's a cap. So there's caps on the amount of money that you can earn over the course of a year through overtime or through your tips that isn't taxed. And then, you know, like you said, after a while, it will go away because they didn't write this bill to be in perpetuity. They wrote it to be the extent of the Trump administration, this second Trump administration, and then hopefully never again. But they, you know, because we know what that's, you know, we know what's aiming that direction. But they wrote it so that if somehow, some way, the plans of Project 2025 do not fully enact, and they are not able to fully do away with elections, and they are able to stay in power, a la a king or a monarch or a monarchy, that once Democrats come into power or another group comes into power, that all of these things will fall off a cliff. And with that falling off the cliff, then all of a sudden will be everything's going to be in chaos, it'll be in turmoil, and all of a sudden they can point fingers. Like they did during Biden's administration. Oh, everything's bad under Biden. Well, no, this is all Trump-era policies. No, you can't blame Trump for this, even though they blamed Obama for everything that Trump had to deal with in his first term. So that's the plan, is to all of this shit will fall off the cliff, and then they'll just start pointing fingers and saying, oh, the Democrats, oh, the Democrats, oh, the Democrats. And that in and of itself again, we the people, the fact that we are not holding these motherfuckers' feet to the fire.
That's the thing, dude. And I think a lot of it, so much of it stems from, and we're not the first people to say this, but I think a lot of politics have become team sports. And it's, each side now is so concerned with what they can do. The Democrats just want to vote shit down because they don't like Trump, and vice versa. You know what I mean? The Republicans just want to fling turds at the Democrats, which, I can absolutely understand some of both sides of it, just to be honest. But it's no longer, and it hasn't been for a while, but it's definitely spiked as of, the last couple of elections and last handful of years. It's more about the bipartisanship and one versus the other, Republicans versus Democrats, Democrats versus Republicans. You can't even sit down and have a conversation with people anymore from the other side without somebody being fucking triggered, or somebody telling you you're a fucking Nazi, or somebody telling you, oh, you have a difference of opinion, well, fuck you. And it's just like, well, I mean, okay, but I thought we were all supposed to be adults about this shit. And it's fucking brutal because we're the ones suffering, dude. We're the ones that are suffering. And it's funny that this bill gets passed and you're going to put caps on the amount of money that people earn who you sit here and you propagandize on the 4th of July and every other holiday, or whenever it's convenient for you. Labor Day is another one coming up. You're the backbone of this country. You've built this country, and you're going to cap what we make, but yet there is no cap on what you guys make.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Again, there's more tax cuts for billionaires, like they fucking need it. They're allowed to just go and do what they want to do and line their pockets however they see fit, even if it includes killing people. And that, to me, is, I don't remember a couple years ago when France tried to raise the retirement age 2 years. I think it was either from 60 to 62 or 62 to 64.
Yeah.
And we as Americans, we make fun of the French, and we're like, the French are gay because they fucking talk funny.
Cheese-eating surrender monkeys.
And dude, it's like we shit on them, but you know what they fucking did that we didn't?
Mm-hmm.
They all came the fuck together, man. And they burned that motherfucker to the ground. They're like, you're not gonna fucking do this to us. Fuck you. And you know what happened? They got what they wanted.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna do that. We're not, because we're so tied up as a country with everything that CNN and Fox News and all of those people tell us, and what, the shit that Biden and Trump have been preaching over the years, and whoever else. Just fill in the blank with whomever you want. Whether it's, abortion and what bathroom to use and all of this type of shit. This stuff does matter, yes. But at the end of the day, if we could, BLM, let God knows, let's try to divide people by race any chance we can get. I interact with a lot of people from different races and colors and things like that every day, like we all do. I've never met somebody who wakes up in the morning and I feel like it's trying to stick it to me, a white guy. I've never met any white people that wake up in the morning and look at me because I'm white and go, hey, you know who I'm really trying to fuck over today? The black people. Like, I know that's out there. That is out there, yes, and it will be. It's always going to be, but it's such a minute sector of society, I feel like, that the more the media tends to propagandize this shit and divide and conquer, that's what it all is. We're not going to come together and actually create the revolution that we're capable of, and to be honest with you, that we fucking deserve. It's just not going to happen, because we're divided by too much dumb shit that doesn't, at the end of the day, doesn't fucking matter, man. It's not just white people that are out here working their asses off and struggling to pay bills. It's not just black people. It's not just brown people. It's all of us that are out here living paycheck to paycheck, hand to mouth, maxed out credit cards, fucking, okay, what bills can we pay this month? And like, we can pay all our bills in this house still, but it's also, you're always one, a friend of mine says this, you are one mishap away from being that guy outside of Wawa asking if you got any spare change or a cigarette.
Absolutely. And that's the thing though too, is now that things are getting so loosey-goosey and pushy, and we're seeing now with who is in charge, the racial and the cultural movements, those are starting to blur the lines, especially with what's going on with ICE and with the roundup of people going on right now. The opening of detention centers like Alligator Auschwitz, and opening up of reopening of Guantanamo, sending people to CCOT, people like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and it's one of those things where it's difficult for me as somebody who's extremely empathetic and somebody who's extremely white to see like all of the things that are happening on that end, especially because I genuinely, there are things that I could do, and there are things that I am implementing, there are things that I want to do, especially in the community that I live in, and the community that we live in. It's kind of one of those things is we are not the majority in where we live, and that's just the way it is, and it is what, and we have accepted that, and we move on with our day. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people who look like you and I who see that and do not move on with their day, and they get really pissy about it. And then we see things like all of the $75 billion that this big bullshit bill is pumping into the ICE coffers when they were overspending, and they were having hearings like 3 weeks ago about how the Department of Homeland Security was already $1 billion over budget because of the roundups that they're like, let's call what we call it. They are roundups of brown people. Like, this is the American Gestapo. They are going around with masks on their faces. They are going around with guns drawn and ready to just grab, snatch, throw in the back of a van and run away. And, for our entire childhoods, weren't we told that strangers are bad?
Yeah.
And I genuinely, and I am so surprised at this point that I'm so surprised, but at the same time, I'm not surprised that somebody has not pulled a gun in the middle of one of these incidents and just started pew-pewing at all of the ICE agents in the middle of a scuffle. The reason that I'm not surprised that it hasn't happened is because of the fact that in this country, the people who would be doing that, the people who would feel some type of way about a brown person, a random person, somebody who might not speak English or who might not be from this country, being snatched up by a bunch of masked militia and thrown into the back of a van, the reason that those people aren't doing that, they aren't pew-pewing these ICE agents and these federal officials and these police officers, is because that's the side that said guns are bad. We've genuinely, the blue side fucked itself. And this is one of the ones that gets me riled up, is the reason that we don't do what France did, the reason that we don't do what Spain and what Greece and what all these other revolutions that have happened over the course of time have done, is because we now don't have the firepower to match the firepower that the bad guys have.
Well, frankly, I don't think we have the IQ either, man. I don't. I think we're we're too worried collectively as a society in this country about stupid shit, about, you know, Kim Kardashian's ass and the basketball wives of Atlanta, and what are we going to put on our fucking Instagram stories and shit like this, and none of that matters. And you and I have talked before, and we're huge sports guys. Hey, we do a pod, by the way.
Hey now. Live.
Yes, exactly. As much as we love sports, and I mean, you see all of the shit behind me. I'm a walking billboard for the fucking Eagles. I have 6 fucking Eagles tattoos on my body. I have 2 Flyers logos. Like, I say all that to say, even that is bullshit. Even that's a fucking distraction. It's the gladiators in the Colosseum. It's all bullshit. Make them look over here at smoke and mirrors.
The fall of Rome, buddy.
Right. And at the end of the day, as much as a bird's loss devastates me, does it impact the world and what happens and things that actually matter in my life? I can't believe I'm about to say this, but no. It still breaks my fucking heart. I still get pissed, but it's like, this is the perspective that's come with age and, first of all, 2 Super Bowls. Because now I've seen it, and that doesn't mean I love them any less, but I'm getting sidetracked here. So I say all that to say I don't think we're all too self-absorbed. It's too important to get likes. It's too important to get that virtual affirmation, that social clout. Not you or I, but, you know, people my kids' age and the people in between. That's the shit that matters so much to them, reality TV. And I truly believe that phones and just the instant gratification of it's fucked everything up, dude. No one cares anymore. You go out to dinner and you see families, and what are they doing? They're not interacting with each other. They've all got their phone. They're just doing this. There's no discussion. There's no any of that shit. We're too self-absorbed to even give half of a shit. I think that's what it is here more than anything. And I think with the ICE thing, I just want to mention, I think it was in El Paso a couple years ago when all that was going in. I could have the location wrong, not sure. I can cross-check. But I know they were flooding immigrants in. And with their entry, they were giving them things like phones, medicine. They were giving them housing. In some areas, like I said, I think it was El Paso, could have that wrong. I do think, though, when you start opening the door to just handing things out to people that you're letting in here when you don't know if they're, and I'm not trying to sound like 4547, because I don't think all brown people are criminals. I don't. A lot of criminals look like you or I. In fact, most of them do. I'm a serial killer nut. Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, fucking John Wayne Gacy, David Koresh, cult leaders. These were all white
Most
people.
school shooters.
Okay, exactly. The Applewhite Heaven's Gate dude. Those are all white folks. Okay, so I'm not sitting here, chill out comment section. I'm not saying that all people from across borders are rapists and serial killers. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is if they are, then I would not let them in. I wouldn't. And I damn sure would not offer them sanctuary here either, when you have so many people here out in the streets that are struggling to pay their bills that you can't even fucking provide assistance to here. That was supposed to be what this was. America first. Right? Promises made, promises kept. And we'll get into more of that. But it's like, what happened to just taking care of our backyard first? That's one of the things my mom used to tell me when I was growing up, you know, and I would, you know, you're a kid, you whatever the fuck, and she would go, worry about your own backyard. And in other words, worry about your fucking self before you go looking at other people. And that stuck with me. And I think it's applicable to our politicians too. All of them. Because we don't fucking care at all about what's actually going on here. We don't.
And that's the thing, though, is you know, because if we look at history, and I'm a history teacher, if we look at history, the isolationism stopped mostly around World War II. And we had to intervene in World War I, and then we went back to doing our own thing. And then we realized that doing our own thing was quote unquote good for us anymore, because we genuinely tried to stay out of World War II for as long as we could. Sure. And genuinely, people here in the United States, a lot of people actually sided with Nazi Germany and for a long time, because they didn't understand the level of depravity and the level of horror that was going on in Eastern Europe and in the concentration camps and going on across the world in China and in Africa at the hands of the Japanese and the Italians. And then, what was happening in Russia for, 40, 50 years at that point after the Bolshevik Revolution, or 20 to 30 years, sorry, after the Bolshevik Revolution and everything with Lenin and then Stalin. It's one of those things is we realized after that point that we couldn't take our hand out of the cookie jar any longer. And right. We could not be isolationist, because the world with the nuclear bomb and with all of the things that we were dealing with, it was an us or them. And then we said, okay, fine. Well, if it's going to be us or them, let's make it us and let's keep control. And that's why you see Iran, that's why you see Korea, that's why you see Vietnam, that's why you see Nicaragua and Colombia and Peru and Argentina and all of this shit, right? All of a sudden we have to be the world police. And I have this argument with my pops all the time of why the fuck do we have to be the world police? Well, because he doesn't say this verbatim, but Star Spangled Freedom, that's why, because otherwise they'll run all over us. Well,
but it's not.
Right. Like it's not about, now at this point there's so much money involved, and then you get religion involved, and religion is 95, in my opinion, 95% of the fucking problem in the fucking first place. So let's get that straight.
It's definitely a contributor.
Exactly. So it's one of those things is then it brings it down into the micro. We start getting these overhyped Nazi swastika running 88 wannabes that wear masks and round up brown people for fun because they get deputized by a sheriff's office or by the fucking secretary of drunkenness, Mr. Pete Hegseth himself. So it's frustrating that, now we have concentration camps on American soil that resemble Dachau, that resemble Auschwitz, that resemble the worst of what we swore against a long time ago. And there's reports coming out that the treatment in the facilities of these people is abhorrent. But then we turn around, and not only can we treat people that don't look like us and didn't come from this country like shit, but then we turn around and let's gut all of the systems that keep our people safe, like the National Weather Service and NOAA, and let's take away all the money and opportunities for them to be good and keep our people safe, and let's let little teenage and preteen girls die in a flood.
Yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Yeah, dude, well, it's one of my best friends lives in Asheville, and obviously that whole ordeal happened over the summer. And when your response is to send $700 checks to these people that just lost their entire lives, go fuck yourself, man. Meanwhile, how much money is being funded for, these transgender Sesame Street puppet shows in other countries, and all of the weaponry that was left overseas.
Where the fuck is there a transgender puppet show?
Doge, dude. They found the shit, and that's what I'm saying. God. Yeah, when you go through and when they found all this money that's being fucking wasted by the government, and all you're going to offer people here who just had a natural disaster, natural, air quotes, completely fuck their entire lives in the ass, you're just going to send them a stimmy, basically. $700 isn't going to pay a month rent. What do you want me to rebuild my life with that? We've lost sight of how to take care of our own people and how to take care of our citizens, because if it doesn't further the political agenda, if it doesn't further what the elite want, then it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. And then they want to sit here and tout the American dream and all of these things. There is no American dream.
It's a fucking nightmare.
The American dream is fucking dead, and it's been dead for a long time. The American dream has simply become, can you afford a roof over your head? Can you eat? And that
play
seems
a
like
little
it's about
PlayStation.
it. That's it, dude. Can you do something like we're doing right now? Because we grew up, in the 90s when it was kind of the last, and I think this is a disconnect too, because I have these discussions with my mom and stepdad sometimes. It's like they don't understand, well, you guys are making all this money, where's it going? And I'm making an amount of money now that if you had told me 10 years ago or 15 years ago, this is what you'll be making when you're 37, I would have been like, okay, I'll be all right, we're good. And it's not that, man, let alone be with somebody that makes as much as I do. Actually, technically, she makes more.
Yep.
And, we're still living the way that we're living, man. And I would have swore we'd have been all right. We'd have been fucking, if you'd have told me I'd have been with somebody that was making more than me too, I'd have been like, man, we have a car. We share one car. We can't afford a second car because your average monthly car payment in this country is now $700 fucking dollars. So it's fucking maddening, dude. It really is, because that's what the American dream is now. And you used to have, in the 90s when we grew up, $40,000 would pay your mortgage, would put food on the table, plenty of food, would pay your utilities, which are also bullshit. That's a discussion for another day. How do you monopolize a natural resource? Anyway, you could have 2 cars in the driveway, and you still had enough money left over to maybe take your nice little summer vacation down, if you live where we do, say the Outer Banks for 4 or 5 days once a summer. You know what I'm saying? You had the money to do that. Now you don't. So it's fucking insane, dude. It's crazy how quickly, and I understand inflation, but it's gotten so out of hand so fast that how the fuck did we get here?
And that's the thing is we have all the things that are going on in the world around us that influenced politicians, that influenced decision makers, and then you have things going on like Netanyahu flying in from Israel over the course of the past couple days to sit down with Trump to discuss the plans of a ceasefire in Palestine. Oh, wait, the place that they wiped off the map. And then he submitted a recommendation letter to the Nobel Peace Prize committee that Donald Trump should receive the Nobel Peace Prize on the back of Donald Trump and Pam Bondi and his administration now swearing up and down that the Epstein files and that the client list don't exist and that it's done and it's over with. It's micro and macro corruption on a blatant kayfabe scale that the entire world now, MAGA, progressive, blue and red, they're all looking at it going, what the fuck, over?
Kayfabe's a great word for it, wrestling term for those who don't know. Because we, of course, had to cape for Israel. Just had to.
We always have, since 1953.
Yeah, I know.
Does that mean we're going to do an Israel episode here soon?
We could do an Israel series, dude. I think everybody could.
Absolutely.
But and that's what I'm saying. It goes back to promises made, promises kept, and America first, but Israel firstest. I mean, we've all seen the memes. It's like anytime Israel's got a boo-boo, we got to run and fucking and save them. And isn't it funny? Because you mentioned earlier the Bolshevik Revolution, if I could fucking talk. We hear so much about the Holocaust in this country. 6 million Jews, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many people died in the Bolshevik Revolution?
Oh, about 25 to 30 million.
Right, and you never hear about that in textbooks. You don't. Why is that, I wonder? I'll just leave that for you because I don't want to get shot on the front porch of my own house. But it's just fucking crazy, dude. So you have that a week ago or whatever it was, and then now, like you said, Epstein, after J.D. Vance about a month ago, I think it was sitting here talking about, we just need to release the client list. That's part of the platform. That's part of what Trump ran on, was we're going to expose all this and we're going to drain the swamp and the deep state and all of this shit. And, I promise you're going to get that Epstein list and you're going to get the client list. We're going to release it my first day in office. And now all of a sudden there is none.
Pump chump.
How fucking retarded are we supposed to be? And nobody, it's one thing, man, whatever your views are on, fucking red, white, right, left, whatever, but shouldn't we all agree that it's wrong to fuck kids? And
We should.
When you have now the government, Kash Patel was on Joe Rogan, and the list is going to come out, and it's Pam Bondi, and it's Kash Patel, and it's all these people. They're all in on it. They're all in on it. And Trump was supposed to be different. Trump was supposed to be, because I believed when there were 2 assassination attempts on his life, here's what I thought. I was like, and this is what I hate. I talked myself into, they got me, and I should know better because it was like, right? I'm like, okay, they want him gone for a reason. And I think that maybe he learned from his first term and he's going to come back and all of this shit he's saying, it's like, okay, all right, expose the Epstein client list and onward and upward. And none of it's happened. None of it. The only thing that he's held true to is immigration. And I'm with that to a certain extent. But what about everything else? What about all these other things that you promised, where you were going to restore the economy and you were going to fucking give back to the American people and you were going to make sure that all this corruption, because you weren't from this world, even though you were from another world similar, you weren't from this world, and you were going to come in and you were going to drain the swamp, and now you're part of it. Now you're a fucking part of it, and you're just as culpable as everybody before you and everybody that will come after you. And furthermore, how can you trust J.D. Vance if that's the one that's going to be propped up in 4 years?
Oh, we can't.
It's like he's culpable as well. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, all of them. So now, if we're going to play the team sport, it's afforded an opportunity for the Dems to come back in, potentially,
or
swing the balance of power back in their favor. I don't understand how you can sit there and tell us now there's no fucking client list. What the fuck?
Or here's a fun one. Now we can all get behind Elon because he is starting the America Party. But here's my fun thing with Elon is, yes, Elon's a giant piece of shit. And yes, he has done some reprehensible things with Doge and has faked a lot of the bullshit. And because a lot of the things that Doge found aren't real or don't exist or were contracts that had expired. Like, there's so much inconsistency with the Doge findings. And I argue with my dad, another thing I argue with my dad about a lot. But now, it's coming out that Donald Trump didn't win the election. And here's the fun part about this is the more you start lining up pieces and the more you see like the recreation of like the gunshot to the ear and all of that shit, and then you start looking at voting records in New York, you've got counties that voted 85% blue for their representatives, voted 100% red for the presidential side of the election.
And see, that's what.
And it's like, what the fuck? No. And then Elon and Trump keep saying, like, he said out loud these things about Elon, like, you know, oh, well, we've got it covered, or, oh, you know, we'll make sure that it happens. And then he talked about, what was it, like 4 hours before the election, we knew that it was over because Elon said so. It's like, no, but if the Democrats claim that they cooked the books because he already did it, they're going to get labeled as the crazy. Like, it's maddening and it's annoying, but it's one of the most brilliant cons, if all of that is correct and factual. It's one of the most brilliant cons that's ever been pulled off in the history of history.
It is. Well, and the election one's the one you're not supposed to touch because that's an institution. That's the big thing that they use to say, well, you have freedom of choice, when we fucking all know, at least most of us that, again, can think for ourselves, know that even the freedom of choice is a fucking illusion.
Shit or vomit.
Basically, right? And my thing with that was, the only reason I'm hesitant to believe that is because I cannot fathom a world where, and I'm not saying like, hey, let me get my MAGA hat real quick. I cannot fathom a world where enough people think that fucking cackling Kamala was fit enough to lead this country. Because for those of us that watched her for more than 5 minutes, it's obvious she was just playing to a fucking crowd. You know, she can do a Jamaican accent. She can, do a Hispanic accent. She can fucking, when she's around people of color, now she's trying to speak hood and be cool. And it's like, does anyone not see this here? And I'm not sitting here going, Trump's awesome. Not at all. But at least you know what he is, man. And not to mention, if you go back to Kamala's record when she was a district attorney, she's vile as shit. You want to sit here and you want to preach, black power and all these things, and keep in mind I'm a white guy saying this, so maybe I shouldn't be speaking on it, but these are facts.
That's what this show is for.
You can look this shit up. You're gonna sit here and imprison a bunch of black people for smoking little weed.
Her record was abhorrent.
Yeah, and
when
you're
it
gonna
came to
fucking
people who do not look like us.
Right, and you're gonna sit there on 106 in Park or whatever that show is, and you're gonna fucking smoke and then go, oh, but I didn't inhale. Fuck you, man. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're a fucking...
And here's the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, just basically what I was going to say is fuck Kamala Harris.
Yeah. And, and it's kind of one of those things is what I hate to say it this way, but I don't. Because we're all forgetting, like, the two incidents that happened back in, like, 2021 with the one incident where with the South Dakotan Native American tribes that got like forced off their lands by the cops on horseback that we all watched and we're like, that's abhorrent. And then we were watching the kids in cages under Biden's administration, and then we were watching the Border Patrol agents beating the shit out of the Haitian refugees that were coming across the border. It's not like the Democratic Party is absolved of any criminality or that.
No, they're both fucked up. They're both fucked up.
Right. Like, if Kamala had won the election, instead of ICE being blatant and above ground and in your face like they are now, the ICE budget would have passed, probably not nearly as large, but it would have passed in some kind of legislation to allow the Department of Homeland Security to have a lot more stuff.
Right.
And it wouldn't be talked about because it would have there would have been other issues that would have been pushed on the docket that we'd be upset about right now, that the people of the country would be butting heads about. And they'd probably be more social issues like abortion, like transgenderism, like the LGBTQ community, like, you know, Black Lives Matter community stuff. You know, like there would be more social unrest versus federal versus social unrest, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
so,
I do.
And that's the way the Democrat terms go now. So it's not like what I really want to say is it's not like brown people wouldn't still be being snatched. It's just that it would be a lot quieter on that front because a blue person was in office instead of a red person. So,
yeah.
You know, blue pill, red pill. But let's swing for home with this one. So we set up a draft, as we used to do with our sports show, and we still do. We like to end the show on a draft, whether it be top 5 things that, you know, top 5 players, if you got one at bat to hit a home run, who do you want at batter? You know, top 5 breakfast cereals. Like it doesn't have to be sports related.
Ones. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
And here it's gonna be crazy and all over the place. Like, which top 5 people you don't want to see on Jeffrey Epstein's list. You know,
he didn't have one. He didn't have one.
So they say. So for today, our top 5 is going to be top 5 places that you don't want to go other than Alligator Auschwitz.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
All right. So, Cory, I'm going to pull the big board out here. I want to know your number 5.
So are we going in
reverse order?
Reverse order? Okay.
Where would you rather go than Alligator Auschwitz?
Give me the Clown Cafe with Art the Clown.
The Clown Cafe.
I love Art the Clown anyway. I don't know if you could. Yeah, there's my little Terrifier 3 popcorn bucket behind me.
Hey, there you go. So instead of going to Alligator Auschwitz, I think one of the somewhere I'd much rather go, even though I hate going here, somewhere I'd rather go to a new job training.
Oh, that's a great
in perpetuity than go to Alligator Auschwitz.
That is a great call.
New job training. Because who loves sitting there watching a computer screen for, 8 hours over the course of 3 days just so you can stock some fucking shelves at Walmart?
Those shitty, 1991 videos that are so out of date, they gotta pull in, remember the VHS projector that the cart, your substitute teacher would roll into the classroom when, they didn't want to actually do their job. They just wanted to put on, a stupid-ass movie for you to watch, Stand and Deliver with, fucking Edward James Olmos or some shit. Here, watch that on this. Although there is something cool to being you know what? These are basically 3 days off before I really start getting after it. So it would just be cool if they did something a little more exciting. So I'm with you there. Those videos blow.
Right. What do you got for number 4?
Give me Walmart.
Walmart. Speaking of.
Give me Walmart. Terrible place. And it sucks that's another thing, man. How in this country can you sell the same product at multiple grocery stores, but at one place something might be $3, and then at the other place it's fucking $8.99? What the fuck are we? How, dude? Make it make sense.
Man, it's all about them labels. For me, I would much rather go to, for number 4, I'd rather much go to a Little League baseball game. As many Karens and Sharons and Mikes and Steves are going to be standing around a fence screaming at an umpire.
That's what sucks, because without the parents, youth sports would be great.
It would be amazing.
And we both have coached.
I wish that all youth sports would implement the you can't like the you can't talk rule.
Yeah, just stop it. No one's here. No one's here for you, man. You're the parent. Stop taking the shine away from your kids and shut the fuck up.
People don't know how. What do you got for number
Dude,
3?
No shit. John Wayne Gacy's basement.
Oh, Jesus.
I'd rather be body number 38 or whatever it was. He lived in Chicago-ish or Iowa, so it's cold there. I like the cold. Let me get in some Iowa dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I think for number 3, I would rather be in the Titanic submersible than go to Alligator Auschwitz.
That is a Pandora's.
It's quick, it's easy, man. Like there's no thinking about it. It's just toothpaste.
Yeah, basically. You know you're done. There's nothing you could do about it. Although to be on there would mean that you'd oppose the Federal Reserve. So, and I think how dare you have that thought? We see how far it's gotten us all these years later. Thanks, Woodrow Wilson, you fucking dick.
Hey now.
Yeah.
What do you got number 2?
For number 2, I think I'm gonna move mine up to number 1. I think number 2, give me DMV.
The DM. Oh my God.
Yeah, dude.
The worst.
Hell on earth. Yeah. Dude, for real, because you know what they don't have in other countries? The Department of Motor Vehicles. And it's a place where just happiness goes to die. You got to get up early, otherwise there's a fucking line of depressed people that are equally as mad to be there. And then they have like 36 windows, but only 4 people working, and all of them feel like they just got fucking
butt fucked.
Basically, with a fucking chainsaw, dude. And it's super inconvenient for them to just push a couple of keys on their keyboard and take your goddamn picture. It's
and then
not
you
that
always
bad.
forget one document.
Yeah, dude, and it's like you're a federal employee, man. You guys get like every 3rd day off. Fuck you.
Right.
It's not that bad.
For my number 2, I'm going to say it out loud. I would much rather be on Jeffrey Epstein's client list than go to Alligator Auschwitz. Oh, wait, sorry, it doesn't exist.
I was going to say, let's just give you a redraft at number 2. Because suddenly...
It's like John Cena, you can't see it.
Exactly, dude. Suddenly it's not a real thing, and we were all just making all this shit up.
What you got? Top spot.
I got another Jeffrey. I went heavy serial killers here. I'm going to Oxford Apartments when it was still standing in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Give me Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment.
Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment.
I would rather have my dick be a shrine in Jeffrey Dahmer's freezer.
That's fair. I mean, I don't think that much worse could happen than that, especially considering the it wouldn't be much of a shrine on my end.
Well, at least you know what Dahmer would do. At least he'd put you to sleep.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
You get a good nap.
Instead, in Alligator Auschwitz, you got to watch floodwaters rise as you're trying to sleep.
Yeah, dude. Like, at least you get a good night's sleep at Oxford Apartments.
Gotta love it. I think my last one for me, and you probably could have seen this coming from a mile a fucking way. I would rather go to church.
Oh.
I would rather go to church
Yeah, I'm not going that far.
than go to Alligator Auschwitz, because you know what? Fuck religion. That's just the way it is, man.
Well, you could at least sing some cool songs.
Cool songs. Cool song. You know what's horrible about having grown up in a Baptist and Pentecostal household for a time?
Jesus.
Is they're still stuck in my brain like goddamn nursery rhymes.
Yeah,
like
the Baptists are
it's
really
awful.
bad. The Baptists are...
And every now and again, like, I'll be driving and I'll be delivering, and one of them will pop in my head, and unless I sing it out loud, it won't leave.
It's like you gotta
feel like the worst.
Self-exorcism.
Oh, absolutely. Just start spitting green pea soup everywhere, man.
What you could do, man, is, and this is no secret, white church is boring. It's stuffy. You got to go to a black church, man. They have fun there. At least. They have fun
I have,
there.
I at least get cardio when I go to black churches.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. There's life there. There's a little bit of spirit. It's not
There's
just
joy.
Yeah, it's not some dude that you know is gonna like leave there and go home and beat his wife and grab his son.
No. There's still wife beating in the black side of the church too. Let's not get it twisted.
I don't think they're big on pedophilia though. That's exclusively a white.
No,
thing
they're
for
pretty.
the most part.
That's a big thing in the black church too. Like
Are they?
Are they?
Yeah, they just don't talk about it as much.
They're quiet. Well, that's because you can't hear it over the songs.
God damn it. All right, on that note, we're running away. And I don't run.
I don't either.
Thank you guys for joining us for our pilot episode of the Libertarigressives. We will be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. So for Cory, aka Liberty, I am James, aka Progress. The Libertarigressives, we out.